What is up, beautiful people? My name is Lydia Tesema, and tonight I have the pleasure of sitting down with Evette Quoibia. Yvette actually recently competed in the Guinness World Record, longest cooking time by an individual, if I'm not wrong. Yes.
That's right.
And yeah, I had the pleasure of being there and seeing it happen in like live action. It was quite energizing, very inspiring, but left me with a lot of questions as well, like how on earth is someone doing this? We're going to learn a bit about Yvette today, her journey, a bit about her story and how she got into cooking, what it was like competing, and what she's hoping to do in the future as well. But before we start, I want to start on a controversial note. Who has the best jollof rice, Yvette? Please.
We don't even need to talk about it because Liberians got it.
Whoa, Liberians?
Yes, it's been proven. Yes, there was
a
few people in America that tried Liberian jollof rice.
Okay.
And they confirm it.
So why are we running around? Why are Ghanaians and Nigerians
I know.
The ones that are going head to head?
I think because Liberians are not really out there. Mm-hmm. And I think Nigerians and Ghanaians are they're the biggest, in Africa, so they always compete among themselves. Mm-hmm. So other people don't really get involved in that.
They're like, have it, y'all.
Yeah, have it. Exactly.
It's interesting because I've actually heard that Senegal actually founded jollof rice. Is that correct?
Correct, yes, that's correct. And they have pretty good jollof too.
Right, she said pretty good.
Yes,
it's not,
pretty
it's not
good.
As good as Liberia.
Yes, not the best, but they're pretty good.
So tell us about yourself. Where are you from? And give us a bit of a background on your story.
Okay, well, I'm fully Liberian. Mom and dad are Liberian. Yeah. I saw a lot of debate online when I was doing the cooking marathon that I'm not Liberian. I am.
Interesting. Who's debating over your background? On what grounds?
A lot, because they said I don't sound Liberian.
Okay.
And also I'm not cooking just Liberian food. But I've had a pretty interesting experience. So I've had a West African experience in general.
Okay.
So fully Liberian, but due to the war in Liberia, I was born in Ivory Coast.
Okay.
Grew up there. The only time we went to Liberia is when I was little, maybe around 5.
Right.
And my parents probably just stayed there for a year and then went back to Ivory Coast.
Okay.
And then from Ivory Coast, we then moved to Ghana because there was something also starting in Ivory Coast. Mm-hmm. So we moved to Ghana, and then from Ghana, I came to Australia.
Wow, and it's a common story for Africans as well as Liberians, right? A lot of Liberians were born in different countries due to the war.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I think it's going to be interesting to talk about food because I'm already imagining that that's probably been the best way or one of the main ways that you've been able to connect back to your Liberian culture, especially because you didn't have that direct experience on Liberian land. But okay. So when did you come to Australia?
I came to Australia the 16th of August.
Do you remember the day?
I do because it was a special time for me. Mm-hmm. The 16th of August 2007.
Okay, special time. You said why was it a special time?
Oh, because we had a rough life growing up. Like for example, my parents went to Liberia. From Liberia to Ivory Coast because of the war, and then another war happened in Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they had to go to Ghana.
Yeah.
And then from Ghana, in Ghana, life was pretty tough.
Right.
Yeah, so I had a really tough life growing up due to the war and everything. So coming to Australia was basically my safe haven, hope.
Well, that's your hope. That's it. And, you've obviously had a whole life in Australia up until this day today. But today I look at a woman who is really embracing her passions and who has also competed in something that I've personally never met someone do. The Guinness World Record is a conversation that I recall from when I was younger. We used to see it on TV, certain people like competing in different things, but longest cooking time by an individual. Tell us about how you got into cooking to begin with, actually.
Okay, cooking. Food. Cooking has always been part of me, but how did I get into it? I would say my personality. I'm someone that I just love people. I like to host. Like everything to do with hosting, I love it. And I love to see people happy. So when I'm around people, I just want everyone to just be happy. So I discovered that my food makes people happy. It sounds
Your
funny.
Food does. Not just food in general.
Food in general.
Food in general for sure.
Food in general.
But
Good
Evette's food, because I've tasted it, and I'm telling you, Evette's food makes you happy. It's
Yes,
true.
good food makes people happy. It kind of makes you forget your problems or whatever you're going through for a bit until the food is done.
Yeah, and then you're full and now you're hungry again.
Exactly. So I discovered that when I used to cook for family, friends, cook for church. I mean, at church, cook, like when we have like church occasion, I'll cook and take it. And people would eat, people were happy and they were commenting, they were really happy. I had a time where I went overseas and I cooked and the family friends were literally singing for that food.
Oh,
they made a song.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
They made a song, so they were that happy.
Do you remember the song?
No. Actually, it was Nigeria.
Okay.
And then it was in their language. So it was like, there's a soup called, it's like palm soup. So they were singing palm soup. So yeah, that was like, yeah, it was good. And, you know, even in Queensland, because I'm from Queensland. Okay. When I first came to Australia, that's why I stayed in Toowoomba.
Okay, Toowoomba, I haven't heard of it.
You haven't?
I haven't, no.
It's a small
I've heard
town.
of the Gold Coast, I've heard of Brisbane.
It's a small town. It's like 1 hour and a half away from Brisbane.
Okay.
Yeah. So I grew up there. Then I went to Rockhampton, which is it's like 7 hours away from Toowoomba. My family moved down there. And I started cooking for people, and yeah, people enjoyed the food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I moved to Melbourne.
The best city in Australia.
The best city in the world. I don't know about the weather.
The weather.
The weather is not the great, but it is a good city. There's something about Melbourne when you come, you want to stay, so it's pretty good.
It's true, and I've also heard that Melbourne's apparently one of the food capitals of the world. Yeah. It's a place that really embraces and has authentic restaurants from a number of different countries. Would you agree?
I will agree.
Yeah.
I will agree.
Yeah.
You can find almost every food in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Every.
True.
There's a lot of African restaurants in Melbourne. I didn't see that in Queensland.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so, okay, so you spent a long time cooking for people, and that seems to be an act of service, something.
Exactly. So I'm an act of service person.
Those type of lover, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you also have another passion or another major commitment that you were juggling alongside, building your passion for cooking and then coming into this space?
Yeah, I did. I actually used to do, like, I had a little bit of passion for hair then. Low key. Yeah, low key, like doing hair. So, people were like, oh, you should you should look into that. Yeah. I haven't discovered that cooking was a gift. Mm-hmm. I was still just cooking here and there, but I didn't really I didn't realize it. I really didn't even think about going for it.
Yeah.
So I was doing hair.
Is that because, we think about cooking is something that's almost essential in terms of eating, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's an essential thing that's a staple in everyone's day, and it's hard to really see things like that as, these gifts and these major talents that we should actually embrace and could even be a big part of our purpose. What did it take for you to really have that light bulb moment where you're like, actually?
Yeah, I've always also wanted to have, I had that thing in me that just love everything about having a business. So I always wanted to have my own business. Yeah. So when I moved to Melbourne, I was working in the abattoir, and then I went to Sunshine, and I noticed they had an African restaurant, a Nigerian restaurant, and the food they display were things that I was good at making. Right. So meanwhile, I've done hospitality. I did some certificates in hospitality back in Queensland, but I didn't really kind of went into it. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is something I want to do. Yeah, I was like, I'm really good at turning rice around, cooking anything to do with rice. So, I'm good at making these foods. So I went in and I spoke to the owner. Nice. And he gave me the job.
Oh, wow. Okay. Was that your intention when you walked in? Were you trying to get a job, or were you trying to ask about? You know, how did you bring
I wanted to work there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to work there. And like you said, I mean, me discovering my passion and wanting to do it. You know, when I noticed people love my food, I'm like, oh, what better way to make more people happy than to have my own restaurant.
Sure.
Or to work in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
so I think that's when I got that hit. And also when I got offered the job there, I became the cook there.
Yes.
So I was cooking there. I was the one cooking the, you know, the meals there, and I was one of the main chef there. Okay. So after that, while doing that, actually, had a desire to have my own. So I was working towards.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I was kind of thinking of. Like when you looked in the window and you saw the display of food, I thought your thoughts were like, okay, I can do this. I could have my own restaurant too. But of course, you always have to start somewhere.
Somewhere, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you were almost looking at it like that when you walked in?
Yes.
Okay.
I was like, oh, this is something I want to have one day.
Yeah.
I just felt that kick inside me was like, this could be you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was really excited, and then I thought the best way to start is to work for someone, learn, and yeah. So I started doing that, and again, people loved it.
Yeah.
There was really good feedback. Everything was going well.
Was it as glamorous as it sounds, or was there, you know, some challenges in sort of getting into the food space and, you know, being a cook as a profession?
Well, I had 2 jobs then, so that was literally my second job. It wasn't, actually, I really enjoyed it. When I came from my first job, I came to the second job, the restaurant, which was in Sunshine. I really loved it. Okay. Like, being there just kind of lighted me up.
You can see.
Yes, I was so happy being there. I enjoyed cooking. I enjoyed, you know, when people eat the food and they were happy. I just loved that. And everything about it just made me happy.
You're making me hungry, Evette. Stop. You're making me hungry. This is amazing. How many years ago was that? Because I feel like your journey has been quite a quick one in terms of really getting into the space, and then now like competing in something that, you know, a lot of us have never seen someone do. You know, when was it that you actually started working at this Nigerian restaurant?
That was a long time ago. So that was literally like 9 years ago.
Okay, that's real.
9 years ago, yeah. So while I was working there, I met my ex then, who was Nigerian. Okay. Yeah, and you know, I stopped working there, went on, started a family and everything, and then that was it.
Okay.
That
so
dream was closed.
Just leaving. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you started a family, got married.
Yeah. Got a different job.
Okay.
And always had a desire, always hoped for that to happen, but nah, it didn't.
Sorry, so can I just confirm, like, so you're saying that you got into the cooking, you were working at the restaurant for a period of time, and then maybe a few years later, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think 6 months, almost a year later.
You ended up, you know, meeting someone and starting a family, and you sort of lost that passion for the cooking, or maybe not lost the passion, but stopped exercising the passion?
Maybe stopped working towards making it professional. Okay. Actually, not really. I didn't lose the passion because I remember studying hospitality, certificate 3, finished everything. I was supposed to do my what is it called? Placement. Is it hospitality? Is it placement you call it?
I mean, yeah, it's essentially like a practical element of
whatever you're studying. I was supposed to do the practical, and then I didn't. I went there, something happened, I didn't end up doing it. I think I got discouraged, and then I didn't proceed. Okay. So when you don't do the practical, you don't get your certificate. Yes. So I didn't end up getting it, and that was how I kind of gave up on that. And then I just ended up doing something else. Got a job. Did a certificate in disability, and then got a job in disability. And that area was closed, but I still had the desire in me.
In you, yeah.
But it's just probably not the time. I don't know.
What did it take to, you know, rediscover that not the passion, because like you say, the passion was always there. It was always there, yeah. Yeah, but what did it take for you to, you know, step into it again in whatever shape or form?
Okay, so I went through a huge process in my life. I'll call it process because life is a process. Life
is a journey. Life is a process. Indeed.
Yeah. So I had that part of the process where I went through separation, or yeah. So that part of my life was closed, and when that happened, I just felt like it was time to pursue my dreams, my calling, my passion, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, after that, I just dive into that.
Wow.
And that was how the journey began.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. There is something unique about, when you close one chapter and how your new chapter
begins.
It begins. And in this case, just diving head first, right? Yes. What did that look like when you decided to dive right in? Did you go back and get a job at a restaurant?
No, actually. So I got my food handling certificate. I did all the process. At first, I wanted to start it at home. So I wanted to start at home and then start getting out there. Yeah. I actually started a few places. I tried doing a YouTube channel and little stuff in there, but it wasn't really working. I guess it wasn't the time. Okay. So then I just got all the certificates I needed, and then I saw a milk where I had the funding. I had the money to start, so I then bought a business like a milk bar.
Wow.
Yeah. Cool. And because I have a child, single mom, I thought just jumping into a full restaurant would be crazy. It would be like, jumping into the sea and not knowing how to swim. Right. So I thought I would start with a milk bar, because milk bar has it's the only place where you can actually have a food business and milk bar, so you can combine the two. So I thought that would be a good start. For something that I'm doing for the first time getting into business and stuff. Yeah, so along the way, after I bought the milk bar, I needed to get to the next stage, which was to renovate and start the food business, which was the main thing.
So did you run the milk bar for a while, like as a normal milk bar?
Just a month.
1 month?
Yeah, 1 month. Yeah.
I love it. So you were selling, the things that we would find in a milk bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. And then now you committed to these renovations. Yeah,
so I needed to renovate. And then I had a friend that came over, and then I shared the vision of the business with her. And then, we spoke, and she was willing to help and all that. And then I asked her, do you want to come on the journey with me? And she was happy. And then we both, we became partners, and then we renovated the place, and then we started the food.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it was food and milk bar.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was
whereabouts in Melbourne was this space?
It's in Reservoir. It's 13 Moore Avenue in Reservoir. Yeah.
Is that place still alive? Is that what's known as Lagout right now?
Yeah, so that's what's known as Lagout.
Lagout.
It's Lagout. It's fresh.
Okay, yeah, I actually had to come and visit. And when was that? When did you officially launch the restaurant?
So I bought the business in February last year. Okay. Yeah, so it's 1 year now. Wow. Then we launched the restaurant in May, the 27th of May.
Beautiful. That's we're coming up to a year. Almost.
Yeah, we're not 1 year yet. Yeah. I think around 8 months or 9, I don't know.
Yeah, quick math. Okay, and then you said, let me take it up a notch. Let me take it up a level. I started my restaurant now, and now I'm going to go for this record. Talk to us about that.
Oh, so how did I get to that journey? Yeah. I remember seeing Hilda Bassi. She's a Nigerian.
I actually don't know who that is. Yeah, I can't lie. I'm going to be like, yeah.
That's okay.
Yes.
So I remember seeing her. She did the Guinness World Record.
She was yes.
Yeah, she was the one that created awareness. Yes. Yeah, so she created awareness, and she was the one I saw do it. Yeah. And it's funny enough because usually when I have occasion or when I'm catering, I stay up for like 2 days or 24 hours. So I usually do stuff here and there, and sometimes I can even stay up for 3 days if I need to. But I didn't know it was another talent.
It's registered as a talent.
Yes.
You can break a record for it.
Exactly. So when I saw Hilda Bassi did it, I was like, oh wow, I'm sitting down on it. I'm wasting a talent right here. And I'm like, that's something I can do.
Did people think you were crazy?
Oh, so many. Everyone I told about it said I was very crazy.
What would they say? What were their concerns?
Basically, why are you spending so much money on something like this? What are you going to get from it? Is it worth it? why are you doing it?
Wow.
So those were the questions I was getting.
Wow. You know, to the whole money point, when I realized that you actually funded that whole thing and fed, you know, a number of people over those days, I'm like, this is, you dove right in, you know, it was a huge commitment, but what are you hoping to get out of it? Or what were you hoping to get out of it? And I say, what are you hoping to get out of it? Because I know it's still a continuing process, right? Maybe you can tell the people how the actual judging process works. Yes, because Evette actually beat it by 30 hours. Is that right?
Yes,
You beat
around something there.
Around
Yes,
30
by
hours,
30 hours.
which means you went for over 6 days.
Yes.
Casually.
So, almost in 7 days. So I beat the record. Well, the record is, the current person holding the record is by Alan Fisher. While I was about to do mine, there was a lot of people doing it. Before, I didn't know the Guinness World Record can approve a lot of people at a time.
Okay.
So when I got approved, I had no idea that there were so many people that were approved too. Exactly. Okay. So before I could even start, I had a lady in Ghana that did 227 hours. And then people were like, Evette, are you still going on with this? I'm like, she's not the one with the record. So my focus and my attention is the one that has the record.
Because I'm trying to beat the record.
Exactly.
Right.
So until something has changed and they say someone else has the record, I'm still focusing on Alan Fisher because he's the one with the record at the moment.
Who is Alan Fisher?
Oh, he's a guy in Japan. He's a chef in Japan that he owns a restaurant in Japan. He's the one that has it at the moment.
And did he take it from the Nigerian woman
Correct.
at some point?
Yes, he took it from Hilda Bassi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And again, going back to that question of what were you trying to actually get out of it? Or what did you imagine on the other end of doing this?
Oh, a lot of things. So I've had a lot of disadvantage in life, like growing up. I couldn't have a proper education, so I didn't get high school certificate. I didn't get university certificate. So basically, this was something I felt like I've always wanted to do something big. And you know, like there's just something inside you that tells you you're made for something more, something bigger.
Yes.
But then life keeps hitting you and kind of, you know, like a lot of obstacles keep stopping you from getting there. So when I found out about this, I felt like it was my time to do that.
Yeah.
To do that, something that has always been inside me.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, you wanted to hone in on the thing that you already love, that you already know how to do.
Exactly.
You know, obviously acknowledging that you had those challenges that, you know, meant that you couldn't do some other things.
A lot of things.
Yeah. But you know, not to say that maybe it wasn't meant to be, you know, I think everyone deserves an education. Everyone deserves to feel safe, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So some of these things were just pure disadvantage and circumstance.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, that you were always destined to tap into this anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, like, you know, what happens with people with the Guinness World Record? Because in my mind, I'm like, credibility, you know, you can really use it as a springboard to go into something else. Like, not only did you do what you did, you cooked amazing food. Can you like tell us the different dishes that you were cooking and also how it worked for the people? Like, you know, one of the questions that was going through my mind is like, wait, does this woman sleep? Does she get any sleep over these days? Because surely she has to, right? And then I learned that there's a little bit of a process or a rule that works with it. How does that all work?
So they have a guidelines you have to follow, and it's pretty strict. It's not as easy. It's not just cook for those hours. Okay. There's so many like guidelines you have to follow. Okay. Like recording for the whole time.
Yep. Recording
like rest breaks and all that. So I had 20 minutes break. Well, you're entitled to 20 minutes break every 4 hours, or 5 minutes break every 1 hour. Okay.
So you have to choose either or?
Yeah, so I chose the 20 minutes break because if it's 5 minutes by the time I go and come back, it's done, yeah?
You just walked to your spot where you're going to rest and now you have to go back. Yeah. I think 20 minutes makes sense because I also hear that that's the key number for a power nap.
Yeah, but the thing is, by the time you go, it's maybe 5 minutes is done already. Yeah. By the time you sit down, sometimes I try getting like 10 minutes nap, but along the way, I realized that it was actually bad for me. In like with a cooking marathon, power nap doesn't really work.
Right.
It was actually more damaging to me than helping.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you navigate that? What was your way of going about it?
I just kind of rested. I did have naps, but every time I have the nap, when I come back, it took like almost 2 hours for my body to get back to normal.
Yes.
And I struggle so much to get back to routine.
Feeling energetic, yeah, and it means you didn't get that full like cycle of
Exactly.
sleep, you know, in the power nap, because like you said, it's not, you don't get 20 minutes asleep. You have to go there, get to sleep, and wake up.
Yeah.
Wow, and because I swear I waved at you at one point, like when you hit a certain milestone, because that's what we used. Was it every hour that people were celebrating you, or how did it work? Because I was there and there was a moment that you hit a certain time. I think it was the first day.
Yeah.
And we were all cheering, and I was waving. I was like, yeah. But apparently you didn't see me, and you didn't really see anyone.
Yeah. There came a time where it felt like I didn't even know where I was. The only thing that was working was my cooking brain that was activated. But I felt like there was a time where I was hallucinating a lot. Wow. I was seeing things, like things were just a bit whack. Yeah. It was very weird. And like some food that I've already made, I didn't even know. Like I cooked over 160 meals. Yeah, when I checked everything. So I was literally like on automatic cook.
Wow. Can you name some of the dishes that you do remember? Just so that we can get people salivating, get them hungry.
Yes, I do remember making the cassava leaf, the pepper soup. I made roast. I made
jollof.
Yeah, I made a lot of fufu and okra.
I missed out on that.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It was good. I made igusi. You know, I made like multicultural food, like lasagna and all those things. So I made a lot of different foods. So because Australia is a multicultural place, and I like to include everyone. Yeah. So I made like even the food, like all the meat we used were halal because I wanted everyone to be able to eat. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Even though I'm a Christian, I still like made sure the meat were halal and everyone can have. For sure. Can have a meal. So yeah, we did cook literally whatever I know how to cook since I've been cooking. Yes. And chip it in.
Did anyone count how many people came in and out of those doors? Because there was a lot of energy in the room, especially key moments in the day. Obviously, probably not at 3 a.m. Did you have company in there?
Yeah, most of the time. Like in the beginning, no. But as days go by, I had people, like the Liberian community were really supportive. They came through. They gave it their all, and that was really exciting. Oh, wow. Yeah, I was so proud of them.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're so proud of you. What do you hope to do with, what actually happens now? Because you did complete what you completed. You managed to beat the hours, but you said to me earlier that it's not official until...
Yes, so it's a big process. Like, for example, we've submitted everything except we're working on the videos. Because we have to break it down because it's a large file, so it won't, like, you can't download everything. Yeah. So it's pretty hard. So we literally have to break it down into pieces. So we're definitely working on all of those things to submit it. So the process is quite huge. So it's taking time. But once we submit, then they have to kind of review everything, and then they'll tell you how you went.
Okay, according to those guidelines. That
exactly.
You had to, okay. Wow. And so when you find out that you broke the Guinness World Record, because you did, what's your dream? What's your dream now? What do you see yourself doing in the next year or the next 3 years, next 5 years?
A lot of things I could do, but I have to start somewhere. So one of the biggest things would be to kind of have like an official restaurant, just focus on restaurant. Yeah. Because where I am now is basically, it was just a starting point. And also, you know, to see how things are going to go, how people will react to the food and all that. Yeah. Which we've gotten really good reaction from the community, from people, which is good. We got pretty good feedbacks and stuff. Yeah. So first thing...
It feels good.
I know, I had people saying to me, even though you haven't been sleeping, the taste of the food was still consistent and they were still good. Yeah, and that's something I actually find amazing because I didn't know what to expect going into this. Yeah. To have everything consistent and everything still to the standard that I wanted it to be. That was very exciting.
Yeah, and it's a testament to the fact that you pretty much can cook on autopilot. You've cooked so much in your life that you don't have to think too much. The same, you know, with a lot of other things. You know, we get to a point where we're so good, so comfortable that we don't have to think too much about it. But it's the perfect recipe for an incredible chef. You know what I mean?
You.
Yeah. And so do you see yourself moving in maybe closer to the city and starting a restaurant? Has there been barriers even having one out there? Because personally, like I don't live around Reservoir, and I wasn't even aware actually until I came across you that there was a restaurant there. Yeah. But you know, there's so many of us around Melbourne. There's so many people to reach. I think now with your newfound awareness for you.
Yeah.
What's the plan?
You know, starting anything, you first need the money.
It's true.
So you have to work towards that.
Come through.
Yes. Support if you want more of those food.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first you need to have the finance to kind of have a good location where there's traffic, because where we are now there's not much traffic. Yeah. And one of the reasons of me going there is because I didn't know what to expect going into the food industry. Yeah. Going into this business as a single mom is extremely hard. Mm-hmm. So I didn't just wanted to just jump into it. That's why I got a milk bar so that I can stay upstairs and then you can still run the business, and then I can also spend time with my son, you know? Yeah. So that's been going well. But not having enough traffic can be complicated and also really difficult. So yeah, so I would love to be in a place where there's a lot of traffic. Yes. And also, you know, have an official where you have other chefs and things are running smoothly. Yeah, so exactly. I think that'll be the first step.
Wow. Yeah. And you will do it. You will do it. I think, you know, it's incredible that you, you know, really stepped out of your comfort zone to compete in this. Yeah. It's definitely not something that anyone would just do. You have to have like a deep conviction that this is something, you know, there's a reason for this, you know, there's some value behind this. And even to all of the people who maybe doubted or worried for you, did they end up coming around being like, yeah?
Yeah, I had family, friends that supported, even financially, people chipped in here and there. Yeah, but it was a huge project. We even had a GoFundMe. We raised, you know, almost 3,000 from that. Yeah, so that was good. After the marathon, people still supported here and there. So yeah, people did. Once they saw that, you know, I'm very ambitious, so I'm like, if I'm going for something, I just go for it. Yeah, I don't hear anything else. It can be a good it's a good thing, but then it can also be a bad thing. So I have to try and balance that.
You have to balance it.
Yes, I have to try and balance that. Yeah, so once I decided to go for it and everyone saw that it was happening, they supported.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, it was a Liberian friend of mine who called me and said, hey, you have to come here. And I was like, okay. And then I came and sussed it out and I was like, wow. Cool. And is there anything else, you know, you would like people to know about you, especially now as you're at this particular stage in your journey? Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you'd want people to know, or even the ways that they can support you?
Yeah, people can support in helping the dream come to life, I would say, basically. Like, you know, for example, like having the official restaurant. There's other projects we have here and there. So once we're ready to kind of bring those things to life or make it public, I would definitely like people to really kind of support, you know, the vision and, you know, whatever we're bringing out and put into birth.
Yeah, and you know, there's so many different ways that people can contribute their resources or skill set to bring a vision to life. And it really does take a community, especially for big things like this.
Yes, that's right.
And, you know, good on you for stepping out of your comfort zone as well and having a conversation even, you know, like this storytelling and this insight is what people need to see in order to really understand you and your visions. Yeah. So, all the best. I'm going to be supporting you.
Thank you.
And, I'm really excited for you.
Another thing, like, you know, with, like back home, my country, because I haven't really been there. Even growing up, I didn't really grow up around Liberians. I've always grown up around, because I was born in Ivory Coast, I've always been kind of connected to the French side of me. So, that's another thing. I would like to go back home and kind of connect more with my roots, connect with, the land. Yeah. I think there's something different about going back home and experiencing things for yourself that connects you more. So after this, I think that's one thing that it has brought out that passion in me to go back home and do stuff there, do something.
Yeah, and the food could be an amazing vehicle for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's undoubtedly a life-changing experience to be able to connect back to your country, your culture. Yes. Whether you were born there, whether you weren't. I was born in Melbourne, but my parents migrated here from Ethiopia a few years before they gave birth to us. I have a lot of family there, not all. So from my experience, connecting back to my culture and on my land was really, really rejuvenating, was healing, was inspiring. So I really do wish you all the best, and I know you will.
Thank you.
You will get there for sure.
I'm excited. I can't wait. Hopefully soon.
Well, that brings us to the end of this conversation. It was really, really nice to sit down and talk to you.
You too, Lydia.
And make sure you follow Evette. Make sure you support Evette. And you might just taste some really good food while you're doing it.
Thank you. Thanks, Lydia. Bye, guys.